Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Beyond Stuff's weekly wrap here on the Beyond Stuff channel. My name is Bryan, and I am joined today here by Luis Vazquez. How you doing, Luis?
I'm doing great, enjoying the ride along the way.
I'm very happy that you are joining me today here on this show. This has been a slow week in terms of news. But on my way back home, I didn't have time to prepare a new graphic to one that broke just now. One that I'm known for a bit, so we can first talk about that one here right now. Friends, they're gonna be coming back for one scripted special in the HBO Max streaming service. That means Warner Bros. Managed to get all the cast from the original Friends show, and they'll be coming back for a 1 hour special exclusively to the HBO Max streaming service. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they're opening to new streaming services. I think it's really interesting.
And especially bringing back Friends for one episode. Uh, I never thought it was gonna happen. I mean, I've seen like a first few episodes of this first season of Friends, and I get why people love it so much. I cannot say I'm a
It's one of
fan.
the greatest sitcoms ever made.
No, sure.
I remember.
All credit to them. I've heard that after it got pulled from Netflix because of HBO gaining the rights of the streaming of the show, the sales of the DVDs of all the seasons of Friends have tripled throughout the last few months. So I get the appeal as to why they're doing this one more special, and I think this is the one way to bring people to the HBO Max streaming service. Is not only having the streaming rights for Friends, but bringing them back for one more episode, one more special. I think that is good for Friends fans. I'm not a Friends fan, so I cannot say I'm thrilled. But I'm curious to see how the reception of this special is gonna be, especially after so many years that the show has been off air. So we'll see. These people are a bit older. They've gained more. They're more wiser. So there has to be a good reason why they're coming back to it. Now, another one that broke is that set pictures of the Batman film got released on Twitter, giving us a better look at the new Batsuit from Robert Pattinson. In fact, that wasn't Robert Pattinson in the pictures. That was his stunt double. Did you get to
Stunt double.
yeah
Okay.
did you get to see the pictures of the
Yes.
full?
Yeah.
Did you like it? Because people are divided on this one.
Yeah, I think I kind of like it's really not the suit that matters. It's basically the performance, how Chris Patterson does it towards at the end of the day. But the suit, I find it interesting. At least it doesn't have bad nipples like
Yeah,
that
of course.
Kushima movie.
No, I'm
But
gonna say that I like it because it looks more like more safer. That's the word I was gonna go. It looks more safer than the other bat suits, and I just want to see how it
yeah,
looks on Robert Pattinson. This is a stunt double. I noticed because of the shin. So we'll just have to wait and see whenever they release another picture of the Batman. I thought the little teaser that they showed us last week was better than the look that we had on set, and this was bound to happen. That is why they released the little teaser with Michael Giacchino's score, which is the one thing that I'm most excited about of the new Batman, apart from Robert Pattinson. I just want to hear that score. Now, let's start with the official news that we're going to discuss today, this week. One of them is Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn are coming back together for one more film in at New Republic. This is gonna be a comedy. It's gonna be called Family Jewels, And it says the synopsis of this movie: Han, Miller, and Keaton's characters are forced to spend the Christmas holidays together along with their kids and grandkids after the man they were all once married drops dead in New York City. This is gonna be directed by, let me see here, Peter Horse. He has a movie coming out tomorrow called Standing Up Falling Down. I think it's gonna be released only in the United States, with Billy Crystal and Ben Schwartz. Uh, what do you think? What do you think about this reteaming of Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn?
It's interesting to watch, the old folks coming back. But again, my expectation is low because you see many of these simple comedy movies like Robert De Niro with Morgan Freeman and other actors teaming up for a comedy, and it usually stinks. So my expectations
True.
are really low.
I think the best thing about the First Wives Club was just the chemistry that Goldie Hawn, Bette Miller, and Diane Keaton had. I just keep rewatching the scene where they start singing "You Don't Owe Me," and I love how they perform that whole scene together. I just love the vibe that they have together. So it's surprising to me that it took this long to bring them back for another project. Uh, I'll just have to see the trailer first because, as you said, usually when they bring these combinations back together after years after they first reunited, it usually stinks. Dumb and Dumber 2 is a great example of that. But we'll see. I trust the talents of Bette Midler and company. I love Bette Midler to that. I cannot wait to see her back as Winifred on Hocus Pocus 2 if that event happens. But we'll see. Now, the other news that we have to discuss today is, of course, the first look at Woody Harrelson's Cletus Cassidy from Venom 2. This was a post by Tom Hardy, posting this picture of this fresh looking Cletus after, that bad look that he had on the last movie. We all know
Yeah,
Cletus is gonna turn into Carnage eventually.
eventually.
I think it's a bit rushed to do that, but I mean, we'll see how they manage to do this. What do you think about this first new look at the fresh out of jail Cletus?
I really like the fresh look because it looks much more vivid. Even though I love Woody Harrelson, I think he's a great actor. I hope one day he will win an Oscar, but his look on the movie Venom, which I have mixed views, yeah, I really didn't like that weird red hairdo. I really didn't like it. So when I saw this new look, I'm like, okay, I'm digging this. I'm now digging Harrison as Cletus Cassidy, eventually Carnage.
Yeah, the one thing interesting about this Venom 2 movie is that it's gonna be directed by Andy Serkis. And that's the one thing that I really want to see how he does directing this kind of movie. Venom was divisive but mostly positive because it reminded people about the early comic book movies. That is what it reminded me of. I don't hate the
Yes.
movie. I like Tom Hardy because I like Tom Hardy in everything he does. I like that chemistry between Tom Hardy and Venom. The one thing that as well is having me intrigued to see how that relationship develops in the second movie, especially introducing Carnage to this mix, and connecting the lines with Morbius and Spider-Man and whatnot because we know that's gonna happen. They haven't said it in,
Eventually.
in Kevin Feige's side. It's gonna happen. So we'll see how Andy Serkis does, and Woody Harrelson. Despite that weird look that he had on the first one, I cannot wait to see what he does with Carnage. So the movie I think is gonna be released around this October or maybe next year. So I don't know. We'll see. The next movie we gotta discuss, the next news, I mean, is the Mulan, the live action remake of the animated Mulan movie. It's officially rated PG-13 and it's one of the small few number of movie adaptations that get a PG-13 rating, especially because of the war themes in this movie. Because this is not leaning into too much into the fantasy that the first Mulan movie has surrounding it. The dragon Mushu's not
Yeah.
gonna be here and all. It's gonna be more focused into war. So I think this PG-13 rating is appropriate for the kind of story that they're trying to tell. What do you think about this, Luis?
No, yeah, definitely it needed to be rated PG-13 because it has a lot of mature elements into the movie, like feminism, self-identity, war, family honor. Mulan is a tough story, and basically, Disney when they made the animated movie, it's like, yeah, let's add some fantasy stuff to make it PG,
Yeah.
but let them make it PG-13.
And as far as I can recall, people in China did not enjoy the animated Mulan movie, which is why I keep reminding friends that ask me why did they include music? Why isn't Mushu in the movie? This is a movie for the Chinese audience, and we know there's a coronavirus situation happening there in China. It's affecting the box office big time. It's gonna affect of course it's going to affect Mulan too. But Disney made this movie especially for that audience, and they made this movie as respectful to their Mulan story as possible. Except they included a witch, which I don't remember even reading about in the original Mulan story. But we shall wait and see. I think the cinematography and the setting of this movie looks great for a Disney movie, especially. And I cannot wait. This PG-13 is perfect for this kind of movie. Now, the next one on the news is, of course, we have updates on two MCU shows. First, we're being reported that Red Hulk will finally appear in the She-Hulk series. Of course, the counterpart of Red Hulk is played by William Hurt. He plays Ross. I mean, and according to Geeks Worldwide, he'll be making an appearance and he's gonna turn into Red Hulk. The other update is of course the addition of let me see the name. I got it on the notes here. The addition of Supergirl's. God damn, where is it? Well,
Carl Lumbly.
yeah, exactly. Carl Lumbly. Yeah, he played Martian Manhunter's father on Supergirl, and they didn't disclose which role he was going to play in this one, but they're gonna be following the storyline in which apparently Captain America isn't the first Captain America is, and the character Lumbly plays in this series apparently is the first Captain America. Uh, what it reminded me of when I heard the apparent synopsis of the story. Uh, it reminded me of a twist that happened a little while ago with Doctor Who, where they introduced a new Doctor, but isn't really a future Doctor, but it is a past Doctor, and people in the Doctor Who fandom are theorizing: is this actually the first Doctor? Except for but William Hartner isn't the first Doctor, except he played whatnot. And I saw that similarity that this Steve Rogers isn't the first Captain America apparently, and this is why Sam Wilson is taking on the mantle after refusing it in this show. Which should these two news grabs your attention with?
Yeah, about the whole thing about Captain America that Steve Rogers supposedly is not the first Captain America. Then yeah, I would like to see more story into the real first Captain America because I love some of the Captain America comics. I love the Captain America movies. I even watched the series of what was her name? The Captain America's girlfriend. I forgot her name.
Peggy Carter.
Yeah, very cool. I enjoyed that series. I'm a huge World War II fan, so I really love that. So, yeah, I'm more interested into that story.
I'm very interested. I mean, the Red Hulk Thunderbolts thing is fantastic because there's been rumored for so many years that they're gonna be doing a Thunderbolts movie or Thunderbolt series, which is a group of renegades. But if I had to choose between the two, I think I'm more interested in the Falcon and Winter Soldier story, especially because it's been so as this action slash spy series, but I think this one's going to go deep into the politics of the of this government refusing to have a black Captain America, because as we saw in the little teaser that it was shown on the Super Bowl, we see another Captain America, except it's U.S. agent, and the obvious is he's a white guy, and he has the shield. So I like that they're going that way. I don't know how people are going to receive it, but I think Marvel Studios have gained enough trust from us because they haven't missed a beat just yet with the story of the movies. So I think this one's going to be quite interesting, and to see the reaction of the people, especially about how divided politically the people are in this day and age. Now, after this, we got the news that the team of Phil Lord and Chris Miller are teaming up as producers for a brand new original animated movie called Connected, which features a family fighting a freaking a robot uprising, directed by Mike Ryan. And I think the small images that got released by Entertainment Weekly, there I think on Twitter they released like a 7 second image footage of how the animation works of Connected, and it kind of looks to me that just like Claws, it's leaning towards the classic 2D 3D animation just for that 7 second alone that I saw on Twitter. But I think everything that Phil Lord and Chris Miller are doing in the animated animation industry, especially with the success of the Lego Movie and Spider Verse. This is one to look out for this year. What do you think, Luis?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I hope that. I mean, if it comes out good, I haven't seen the movie, but I hope that eventually gets an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, because I'm sick and tired of always, Pixar, Disney winning in that category. But so far, it looks like an Oscar-worthy story, because you will have a story of our time, of the struggles that we have in connecting with other people, because we're always on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and in reality, it's disconnecting us from our interpersonal relationship with our family, with our friends. So yeah, and at the end of the day, you can only count your true friends with one hand. So you don't need 10,000 followers on Instagram. You don't need 500 friends on Facebook. You only need is you and the people around you.
And that is why I think this movie is gonna be so successful, especially because of they're tackling that big debate of the phones today's age and the families being all disconnected from each other because of the technology of today, and then this family for once having to be outside of their phones and connecting within each other to fight a robot uprising, which is I think is going to be lots of fun, but it's gonna have a lot of heart. And I cannot wait because I think the world needs more original stories, and movies like this I think is perfect for today's age. Now the next news on the line is of course Brian J. Smith has been cast for Matrix 4, which is filming as we speak. I think he's filming around the city of Chicago. Of course, Keanu Reeves is coming back, and most of the original cast of the Matrix 4 is coming back, as well as Brian J. Smith that has been cast as a new character. It hasn't been revealed the role that. Let me see. No, it has been revealed. Smith is playing. No, this is no. I got it wrong. He played an officer in one of the Netflix series. Uh, what do you think about the addition of this new cast members and bringing back the old cast from the Matrix, apparently to so they can like pass the torch to the new cast.
It will be interesting if they do it right, like they did in the Force Awakens, that passed the torch from old cast to new cast. Then I think it could work. But the thing is, to be honest, I have really low expectations for the Matrix 4 because, um, okay, I love the first movie, and
I
the
really
second one
enjoy
I
the
thought
first.
it was good.
I'm not a big time Matrix fan, but I enjoy the first movies. The first movie, but the second and third one were something else. I didn't like them as much.
In fact, the third one was such a huge letdown. It was like, oh god, and also making the sequels at the same time. I mean, sometimes it can work, like the Lord of the Rings movies. They were made at the same time, they were made great, but here something happened. So of course, so I'm so
Does
glad
it
that it took
did
like
the
what almost 20 years of
did
pain.
the Wazowski sisters were involved in the sequels of the Matrix back then? Because they are involved in in this new movie.
Yeah, I think they also directed the sequels as well.
Well, that I mean, I think it's time to bring Matrix back, but as you said, I think the sequels after the first one were a big letdown, and I'd be
Yeah,
worried if they go through that again.
yeah,
This is the one thing that bad about bringing back all old franchises, that you either are bracing for success, or you're gonna be let down in the theater. Hopefully this works, especially with the new cast. Now, the next topic is Eli Roth is set to direct Lionsgate's Borderlands, based on the video game Borderlands. I saw Sonic, and as people seen on my review on Sonic, I really enjoyed Sonic. I much rather I have Pikachu on my top of video game adapted movies, and Sonic right on the second number on the number two spot. So after Sonic's success, I think they capitalized on Sonic's success and decided to reveal that this movie is gonna get made and it's gonna be directed by Eli Roth. I'm not that familiar with the Borderlands games, but I am familiar with the whole with the art of the game. I've seen the posters of the game and gameplays of the game plastered throughout screens and promotion. So it's pretty distinctively to what the brand is. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with that game, but do you think Eli Roth
yes.
is the right choice for this movie?
I think that Eli Roth is the right choice because with his style and the style of the videos, because I played the Borderlands videos, I think that he can pull it off. As long as he makes it look fun, I personally would enjoy it because as a director with Eli Roth, it's not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Cup of tea. He I have mixed views of him as a director because I personally enjoy Cabin Fever and Hostel, even though they're not like my favorite horror movies of all time, but I enjoyed it then. He made this movie called, I think it was called Knock Knock, and I was
Mm-hmm.
bored. It was really boring movie. So I just hope that at least, if we can make it fun, then it will be at least this. It will be an enjoyable, fun movie because yeah, sort of like just like the comic book movie Brother Rise back in 2008. I think we can see a slow, steady rise of good video game adaptations.
I think we've been having that so far. I haven't seen Warcraft, so I cannot speak on that movie. But I've seen Detective Pikachu and Sonic, which are the most recent films in these video game to movie adaptations, and they've worked for the concept of the video games alone, and to to adapt them to film is a challenge all by itself because, as you know, Pokemon is this type of game and Sonic is a very different type of game, and they have spin-offs, so it's even more it's easier to use the spin-offs as inspiration for the movies. But even though they used majorly a spin-off to Detective Pikachu, and they did as original stories surrounding Sonic in this new one. I think they both worked greatly, and they were both successful in the box office. And I think Sonic's gonna be having even more success than Detective Pikachu, which is the one thing surprising to me. Now, I don't think Borderlands is on the same level of recognition like Pokemon and Sonic. Now, it all depends on what we see in the first trailer for that movie, and I think hiring a horror director for this one is the oddest thing that I've seen, especially because I've seen clips of the Borderlands game. It doesn't seem like a horror type of game. It seems more of a comedic type action game. So as long as he nails that tone in the movie, I think it's gonna work great. Now, I don't think it's that as big of a fan base as Sonic and Pikachu, but hopefully it is successful because success for this movie means hope for the video game to movie adaptations, and I really want to see more of those, but well made, you know. Now the last thing, and is the one news that keeps bothering me in my head, is the fact that Tom Rothman keeps playing around with Marvel fans with their feelings, hoping that they're gonna extend the Spider-Man MCU deal after the Spider-Man third film on the MCU releases. I'm so tired of this Spider-Man dilemma, especially after Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
I am. People know that I am not a fan of Spider-Man Far From Home in the slightest. I think it's the worst Spider-Man movie in the MCU, even though there has been two.
Oh, really?
It is. Isn't it? It is not the. It is. I'm not saying it's the worst Spider-Man movie overall. That title belongs to Spider-Man 3. But I remember seeing the first reactions and seeing everyone's reaction after seeing the movie first and me here. And when I saw the movie, I was a bit let down because it didn't live up to the hype that people were, because people were saying, oh, this is the best Spider-Man movie of all time. It is not, because that's clearly Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man 2.
I think it belongs to Spider-Verse, but then again, still, I think the one thing that bothered me the most about the Spider-Man Far From Home thing is that, oh, this guy can't move on from the Iron Man death. The people has moved on, who moved on. Come on, and then the whole thing of him.
Remember that Peter Parker saw him as a father figure, and to see him die, that really shocked him. It was like a post-trauma.
Yeah, but he's been around doing bigger, saving the universe. Saving thousands of lives in Endgame. And then being distracted with the whole Mysterio thing and all. It was just bullshit. And I hated the fact that they gave Spider-Man the whole Tony Stark's gadgets and all. I didn't like that. I like the Spider-Man that comes and do things by himself. But that's just my opinion. Now, this whole thing about, oh, let's hope Spider-Man has a future in the MCU after the third film. Stop playing with the fans. I think Disney Marvel already has a plan to get rid of Spider-Man after the third film, because they are not willing to risk themselves into having Sony play around with their universe, because they already are playing around with the Spider-Man universe since it's connected to the MCU, adding Venom and adding Morbius into this thing. So what do you think about this whole the Spider-Man hopes to be on the MCU after the third film?
If it keeps getting good, then yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sort of tired, Spider-Man, 20 minutes Sony and Marvel, it's like, oh my god, give it a break. I just wish that actually Disney will just buy Sony and make the whole thing come to be.
I really just hope that Apple buys Sony just for because if Apple buys Sony, the rights go directly back to Disney anyways. But the thing is, my issue is, I know that Spider-Man is the big superhero right now, standing in the MCU. We no longer have Tony Stark. We no longer have Captain America, and that's fine. I think in this timeline where now these heroes are gone, I think it's time to set up new heroes. Yes, rely on the heroes that we have right now, like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, whatnot. But I think it's about time that we get new stories. Which is why I'm not as excited for the Black Widow movie as I am excited for the Eternals movie, because Black Widow, she's dead. I mean, I welcome the movie
Yeah.
of her past. I'm fine with it, but it's not what I'm looking for. I really want to see the next chapter of what happens after the end game. The Spider-Man Far From Home, despite of what I think of the movie, it is a continuation. That's fine, but I want to meet new characters. I want to go dive into the new stories, and Eternals, Shang Chi, and everyone else, even Blade. I'm more excited for that and to see how that plays off in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's just let the past die. I just hope. Nothing against Spider-Man fans, but I'm having myself a Spider-Man fatigue, and I'd be happy if I'm only living with the Spider-Verse universe after getting rid of the Tom Holland Spider-Man. But of course, people love Holland, and I think they're gonna find a way to work it out without Sony fucking up. So yeah, I think that is all for the news. Don't hate me because of my thoughts on the Spider-Man, please. I love Spider-Man, but I love Spider-Man, but I really want to see fresh news stories, good news stories. Not leaning towards the past, just leaning towards the future. And that's the way we need to go now. But thank you so much for joining me. Where can we find you, Luis?
You can follow me on Instagram, hashtag Luis and Potter, or simply Luis Vazquez.
And you can find me at Twitter at It's the One Nerd. And there's a lot more to come. Luis is gonna be back for the next weekly rap show next week. We have the Nonsense and Stuff show, which I cannot say. I can't say the topic, which is the video game adaptation. I cannot say who's gonna be involved just yet. And of course, the Jobbers show. I'm gonna be reviewing WrestleMania and AEW's Double or Nothing with a couple of guests that I have lined up already. But Luis Vazquez, you're gonna be coming back for the weekly wrap next week. So I hope to see you next week on the weekly wrap, and I'll be seeing you guys next time here on the Beyond Step channel. Bye.
Bye.